We're going to bring online Jimmy Bagley. He is the Deputy City Manager for the City of Rock Hill. We are, again, continuing to talk about Saturday storms. And let's welcome Jimmy Bagley once again to Palmetto Mornings. Good morning to you, Jimmy.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good morning.
We are okay. How are you all doing in the City of Rock Hill? What's the review of Saturday's damage?
We're all tired. We had severe damage. South side of town, we have over 60 poles that are down. We've had crews working really nonstop ever since it happened. The rains haven't helped us. We continued to get rain all throughout yesterday, and most of these poles are hard to get to. They're in back alleys because this is parts of our older town, and just very difficult. So a lot of poles are being set by hand, and if you can get to them. So we've had extra crews come in from other towns to help trim trees. We've got 3 other cities here presently helping us, and another 4 or 5 crews from other contractors, and I've got another 4 cities bringing crews in today. So it's just a lot of work and a lot of time.
Jimmy, do we have a Sorry, Jimmy. Do we have a total number of people who were without power? And then if you can update us on how many of those still are without power?
Yeah, the highest that we know of, we had over 7,000 that were reported in our system. Probably higher than that because a lot of folks, the meters that report in automatically or whether you called in, probably just couldn't get in because it all happened so fast and so many at one time. So I believe it's probably greater than 7,000. We had most of those back on in the first 24 hours. We're down to about 1,000 now, and these are really going to just struggle because it's a lot of onesies and twosies. Again, a broken pole with a transformer on it. You've got to replace the pole and the transformer, run new wires, and it may only serve 2 or 3 homes. So we do still have a couple neighborhoods that part of the main line within those neighborhoods are out, but for the most part, it's just a lot of backyard setting. And it's really hard at night. I mean, even though the crews have been working at night, you can't see very well, and it's so muddy. We've had trucks stuck. You just can't get to it, so it's a lot of hand work. When you set a pole by hand, it takes 7 or 8 people as opposed to 2 or 3 that normally could do it out of a bucket. It's just a slow process.
Jimmy Bagley is the Deputy City Manager for the City of Rock Hill. Jimmy, you said you have 3 other cities helping. 3 other cities from South Carolina? Or
correct.
Just, okay.
No, you're right. Correct. We tried to get South Carolina first, and then I've already had Florida call me this morning about 5 o'clock. They're interested in crews. They heard it was really bad. Of course, some of the North Carolina cities have also reached out. I'm one of the state coordinators for South Carolina, so I'm the one that usually puts all this together for everybody else. And fortunately, we've not had a big storm where we've needed help in probably over 10 years. So it's been a minute. But we do have Newberry, Gaffney, and Union that have crews all in helping us now. We checked them into the hotel last night around midnight, some of them at 2 o'clock this morning because, a lot of hotels are full because we have a lot of folks staying there that are out of power. So it was difficult to find some places even though we had secured some of those. So we're in good shape there, but I've got more help coming this morning from some of the other cities that didn't quite have crews ready, but easily Orangeburg, Clinton, Bamberg, they're all sending some fresh crews in this morning, so hopefully we'll be able to put a big dent in it this afternoon.
Boy, Jimmy, can you describe to our listeners, I mean, you're doing a great job of describing just how big of a storm this is, but to your point, I don't remember a storm having this much impact. This is the kind of impact like a hurricane would have on our community. When's the last time the city has had to weather something this severe so quickly?
1989, Hugo.
Wow.
And even then we had a little bit of warning. The only advantage to this one is it didn't affect the whole town. Hugo pretty much wiped out 100%. This one had a path. It started kind of in the northwest corridor and just ripped through. And by the time it got to 72 or Saluda Street, it just really decimated about a dozen neighborhoods. And we are, like I said, they're in the part of the older parts of town, so it's a lot of back alley work. But the tree debris is a problem. We've had areas we couldn't get to because trees were down, so we've had to have a lot of tree trimmers just to cut a path for us to even be able to get into it. And I imagine folks are going to see limbs and trees around for weeks because it's just going to take a long time to remove it once it's cleared up.
And then, Jimmy, do you have any indication, was this a tornado, a downburst, a microburst? Those are just some of the terms being thrown around about what we did experience.
Yeah, we've talked to the National Weather Service, and we work really closely with York County's emergency management as well as the state. And they were saying it came up unexpectedly as well. They were not really forecasting rain for our area, period. And then all of a sudden, they said, hey, we started getting alerts, you're going to get heavy rains. And then we started saying maybe hail, which we had both, and high winds. So they're a little bit puzzled, too. This just kind of came out of nowhere, no advance warning. Fortunately, we had most of our folks inside or whatever. And then it just started with heavy winds. The meteorologists from the Weather Service are coming in today to do assessments. So they're going to be riding around looking at videos, talking to people. I imagine a lot of the folks in the area that have no power, they'll be spoken with, as well as just looking at all the trees that are on the houses and in the driveways. We still have plenty of customers that can't get out of the neighborhood just because of the trees that are still in the way of driveways. And I think that was a good call by the school district to do an e-learning day, not because they didn't have power, but just because of the danger of there's still a lot of tree limbs down and still weakened limbs that after 3 days of rain, we're probably going to continue to still see some trees to fall just based on the sheer amount of volume of water. And it won't take but a little bit of wind, and you'll have some more problems there as well.
Wow. Well, Jimmy, we appreciate, of course, your leadership, the city's leadership as we move forward in the days ahead. Again, Jimmy Bagley is the Deputy City Manager. Jimmy, thank you so much, sir. Have a great Monday.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. All right. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
You too.